Alright, so moving on to the Fusion Series Owner's Manual. This is a deep dive review into the whole manual. We're taking it step by step. So let's go to the next section after we cover the introduction. Now let's go to the table of contents and we'll find Section 1 Safety. This is probably one of the longest ones we'll do so far. Section 1 Safety. You'll notice it's quite a few pages, a lot of different sections to get through. This particular section covers laser safety, electrical safety, features and regulatory compliance, do's and don'ts of the laser machine, the edge care and instructions, Fusion Maker Edge and Pro lifting instructions. So we're going to hope to get through this whole section in this one video. Might be a little longer than usual, but let's get through it step by step. I'll also plan to put markers or sections in the description of this video so you can just fast forward through each section. But there's a lot of great information here, and maybe I'll turn some of these into shorts. But for now, let's click on Section 1, Safety. And right away, we're going to go through some of this. Might seem a bit laborious, but it's very helpful. A lot of the larger companies that require lots of different OSHA compliance need to really go through all of these. And some companies have onboard laser safety officers that have to really make sure the equipment that is inside the company meets all the standards. So we're going to read through some of this. Let's get started. Alright, so the Epilog model 16,000 and 17,000 laser systems are a Class 2 laser product, as defined in International Standard IEC 60825-1. The Epilog model 16,000 and 17,000 complies with 21 CFR 1040.10 and 1040.11, the Federal Performance Standards for Light Emitting Products, except for deviations pursuant to Laser Notice Number 50, dated July the 16th, 2001. The Center for Devices and Radiological Health of the U.S. FDA issued Laser Notice Number 50 to permit manufacturers to classify and manufacture their products in accordance with the international standards. The output of embedded laser is fully contained. The laser cabinet has safety interlocks that turn the laser off if any access door is open during operation, and no special precautions are necessary to operate the laser safely. Access doors are interlocked and can be opened without the use of a tool. Any interlocked door that is opened while the machine is operating will immediately stop the laser from firing. Access panels are not interlocked and require a tool for opening or removal. Access panels should always be installed when the laser is operating. Never operate the laser system with an access panel removed. The visible output beam of the laser diode pointer, or red dot pointer, is accessible to the operator. While this device employs the same technology as the familiar laser pinpointers, like them, it is potentially hazardous if the beam is directed into the eye. We have made every effort to make the laser diode pointer, or red dot pointer, as safe as possible. Its beam path is located well inside the cabinet, and under normal conditions, no hazardous levels of laser radiation can escape. Operator of the Epilog model 16,000 and 17,000 series should observe the following general precautions. Do not disassemble the machine or remove any of its protective covers while the unit is plugged in. Do not attempt to defeat the interlocks on the doors. Do not view directly into the beam of the laser diode pointer, red dot pointer. Do not operate the laser diode pointer without the machine's focus lens in place. If the unfocused beam strikes a reflective surface, it could be directed out of the cabinet. Caution: use the controls or adjustments or performance of the procedures other than those specified therein may result in hazardous radiation exposure. The standard reference for laser safety is the American Standard for the Safe Use of Lasers, Z136.1 through 2000, developed by the American National Standards Institute. This reference is the basis for many of the federal regulations for lasers and laser systems manufacturers, and for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, laser safety guidelines. It contains detailed information concerning proper installation and the use of laser systems. While the ANSI standard itself does not have the force of law, its recommendations, including warning, signage, training, and the designation of a laser safety officer, may be compulsory under local workplace regulations when operating laser systems above Class 1. It is the operator's responsibility to ensure that the installation and the operation of the Epilog Model 16,000 and 17,000 laser system is performed in accordance with all its applicable laws. Copies of the ANSI standard Z136.1 through 2000 are available from Epilog Corporation or from Laser Institute of America out of Orlando, Florida. Okay, so the next section is electrical safety. AC input power to the Epilog Model 16,000 and 17,000 laser system is potentially lethal and is fully contained within the cabinet. Do not open any of the machine's access panels while the unit is plugged in. Opening a panel may expose the operator to the unit's AC input power. Do not make or break any electrical connections to the system while the unit is turned on. This next section, Fusion Pro Electrical Specifications, shows all of the models, the wattages, the voltage, and the amp draw for each of the Fusion Pro systems. So the Pro 24 and 36 and the Pro 48 are listed here as the models, each wattage, the voltage, and the amp draw. Notice hardly any of these get close to, well, 13 amps, but really a 15 amp breaker should be more than adequate. Next is the Fusion Edge electrical specifications. Here are the models for the Fusion Edge, the Edge 12 and the Edge 24 and the 36. These systems are available in these wattages, and here are the list of the voltages and the amp draw, the max amp draw for each unit. Again, you could use a 15 amp breaker or even a 20 amp breaker for each of these models. Next is our Fusion Maker electrical specifications. Here we have the model Maker 12, the Maker 24, and the Maker 36. The available wattages on those units are 30, 40, and 50 watts, and the voltages for each unit, and the amp draw or max amp draw for each wattage. So you have a 13 amp and a 6.5. And so here's a great list for all of the models, the Pro, the Edge, and the Maker, that shows each wattage here in this column, and it shows each of the voltages, 110 or 220, and the amp draw for each unit. Next, we're looking at the safety features and regulatory compliance. Epilog has incorporated specific safety features into the Model 16 and 17,000 laser system in order to meet the requirements of 21 CFR 1040 and the international standard IEC 60825-1. These safety features include a safety enclosure cabinet which fully encloses the engraving laser and its beam path. Dual redundant interlock systems that turn off the engraving laser when the window is open. A visible emission indication when the laser diode pointer, red dot pointer, is operating. There is an LED indicator on the machine's front panel. 21 CFR 1040 and IEC 60825-1 require that certification, identification, and warning labels be placed on the laser products. Reproductions of labels of the Epilog Model 16,000 laser system follow their locations specified. And here we have number 1, which is the certification identification plate. This tag goes out riveted to all of the Epilog laser systems. Every model gets a tag, and it's got some crucial information, not only the electrical safety guidelines and compliances, but also the serial number. Very helpful if you need tech support help. We always recommend that you put the serial number in the subject line of an email that goes to your distributor or the tech support team, and the date of manufacture of the unit. So this engraved plate is located on the right side of the machine's cabinet. There's also a warning label type or logo type indicates the visible and invisible laser dangers present if the cover is opened or removed. Continuing on, we have each of the stickers or labels that are applied to the machine. Lots of labels on the Epilog laser system, and here's a generic list such as the descriptive label, the non-interlock protective housing labels, the defeatable interlock protective housing safety labels, electrical labels, main breaker label, mechanical safety label, consult the manual label, aperture safety label, power labels, fire warning labels. So Epilog goes to great lengths to follow all the guidelines to make sure that the machine is operated in a safe manner and follows all the compliance and regulatory health and safety standards when running a laser system. Continuing on to the next page of safety, the following diagrams show the location of each safety label. So not only do we give a legend of all the different labels, but we show where each of those labels are located throughout each of the models: front, top, sides, and back and rear of the unit of each model. So for laser safety compliance officers in larger companies, this is a great help. They can just go download this PDF and go look for all of the labels required so they can put it off their checklist and to make sure and verify that the machine is safe and follows all the regulations for that company. So that was the Pro. Moving into the safety of the Fusion Edge and Maker. Again, tops, sides, and rear of the unit, where all the labels are located. Next, in the section 1 of safety, we have the Fusion Pro FCC. This label is a supplier's declaration of conformity, 47 CFR paragraph 2.1077 compliance information. Laser Materials Processing System Model 16000. Epilog Laser Corporation, their address at 16371 Table Mountain Parkway, Golden, Colorado, 80403. Telephone number 303-277-1188. This device complies with Part 15 of the FCC rules. Operation is subject to the following 2 conditions. This system may not cause harmful interference, and this system must accept any interference received, including interference that may cause undesired operation. Note: this equipment has been tested and found to comply with the limits for a Class A digital device pursuant to Part 15 of the FCC rules. These limits are designed to provide reasonable protection against harmful interference when the equipment is operated in a commercial environment. This equipment generates, uses, and can radiate radio frequency energy, and if not installed and used in accordance with the instruction manual, may cause harmful interference to radio communications. Operation of this equipment in a residential area is likely to cause harmful interference, in which case the user will be required to correct the interference at his own expense. This product contains a certified transmitter module, wireless network interface, FCC ID Z64-WL18DBMOD. The Fusion Edge and Maker FCC supplier's declaration of conformity. All of the same information that we just read for the Pro is also applied to the Edge and the Maker units as well. Do's and don'ts. The don'ts. Do not run the laser unvented. Never operate the machine without a properly operated vent to the outside or to a filtration unit. Most material will only produce an irritating smoke when engraved. Some materials, including but not limited to paint, varnish, composition board, and plastics, produce compounds that can be harmful if concentrated. A properly installed vent is the only way to ensure that problems do not occur. What they're really saying here is do not run the laser unless it's vented to the outside or to an indoor filter unit. Do not engrave or cut PVC. Never engrave or cut any material containing PVC or vinyl. When engraved, a corrosive agent is produced that will destroy your machine. Your warranty will be void if your machine is damaged by corrosive or engraving or cutting PVC or vinyl. PVC meaning polyvinyl chloride. So materials that contain ingredients with PVC or polyvinyl chloride or chlorine are very dangerous to breathe. They're very corrosive and caustic and really tears up the machine. Do not engrave PVC. Do not operate machine while unattended. Never operate your machine without someone watching the system. There is a significant risk of fire if the machine is set improperly, or if the machine should experience a mechanical or electrical failure while operating. Do not vector cut while the machine is unattended. Never laser cut a material with the laser without someone watching the system. Because vector cutting moves relatively slow compared to raster engraving, a tremendous amount of heat is applied to the material being cut. This buildup of heat can cause significant fire risk, and and the machine should always be monitored. Additionally, the air assist should always be turned on when vector cutting to reduce the risk of fire. Never operate the laser with any of the covers or enclosures removed, and never modify the enclosure. The laser beam is invisible and is very dangerous. Moving to the do's. Do. Clean the system. Please allow a few minutes each week for cleaning your machine. Just a small amount of effort at the end of the week will pay off years for trouble-free operation of your machine. We'll get into this more on the system maintenance later in the manual on page 189 for specifics. And we can't stress this enough. Keeping the machine clean from residue or debris in the cutting grid, or cleaning the residue off of your cutting grid, making sure the belts are clean, making sure the optics are clean. We understand these are tools, and these laser tools cause a lot of fumes and smoke and residue based on the material that's being used and engraved. So each shop runs their system a bit different. The materials they burn are different. The volume of materials they burn are different. So these are guidelines, but you want to pay specific attention to your machine and how dirty it's getting on a particular job or a long job. So spend a few minutes each week checking the optics and cleaning the belts, and just keep the system free of debris. Okay, continuing section 1 in safety. The Fusion Edge Care Instructions. Operating altitude, 3,500 meters max. Relative humidity, 100% max, non-condensing. Disposal. The Edge 12, 24, 36 is recyclable. Do not dispose of the machine in the trash. Electronic components should be disposed in accordance with regional directives. Protective grounding. Notice, only connect the edge to a power source having a 3-wire grounded outlet. Edge 12, 24, 36 is not suitable for wet locations or pollution degree greater than 2. Next in our safety, we have the Fusion Maker, Edge, and Pro lifting instructions. The Edge 12 and Maker 12. The Edge and Maker 12 laser systems can be lifted and carried using 2 or more people on the sides of the machine. And I'll ad lib here, just always use 2 people when lifting it out of the crate, off the pallet, onto a tabletop. The Maker Edge and Pro 24, 36, and 48. These units are not designed to be lifted or carried. They can be moved on the attached wheels. So all of the 24, 36, and 48 units come with self-contained chassis with industrial leveling casters, and those are simply rolled off the pallet into place on the industrial casters. So that does it for section 1 of laser safety.